Okay, so 3.1, we're going to start with a lot of vocabulary. So you would never need to know the definition, you just need to know how to use them in a question. So statistics is the art and science of extracting meaning from data. The art and science of extracting meaning from data. What is data? Information, good. All right, census. A census is when you acquire data from, what is a census? What's a census? Okay, so it's when they do the entire population. So the United States, you might know how often we have a census? Every 10 years, and they ask everybody, how many people live in your house, what are their ages, that kind of thing. So it is when they poll the entire population, okay? All right, sampling is when you poll a small portion of the population. So sampling, you take a sample. It's like when you go to the mall and they're giving out samples. It's just a small portion, and it is intended to show what the whole is like. Okay. All right. Random sampling is when every possible sample has an equal chance of being chosen. Please be quiet. Every possible sample has an equal chance of being selected. So this is the ideal situation to make it random. That's the ideal situation. All right, systematic sampling, a random sample that is chosen through a specific, anybody? We're going to say order just so we're not redundant, but you're on the right track. So systematic means you're doing it in a specific order. Okay. All right, stratified means a random sample from a subgroup. What is a subgroup? Anybody? Subgroup? It's a group within a group, okay? So a group within a group. Multi-stage sampling, a random sample from specific clusters. I think this one is very easy to get confused with the other one, so I will not give you a question that confuses those two, because I think it's very confusing, the stratified and the multi-stage. They're very similar, okay? All right, what does it mean if you have a biased sample? What does biased mean? Yes, one-sided. So some possible samples may have a preference. All right, so they already have an opinion. They're already leaning one way or another, okay? So biased, you already have a preference. Okay? All right, if you volunteer for something, then you get to choose whether or not you participate. Okay, if you're a volunteer, you're choosing whether or not you will participate. Okay. And what does it mean if something is convenient? What does it mean if something's convenient? Just in real life. What? What does it mean if it's convenient for me to do something for you? Easy, that's what I was looking for. Okay? So a convenient sampling, most possible samples are selected because they're easiest to reach. It's easy. Okay? Anybody need more time to write? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and jump down to example 1, and then we'll go back in a minute. So random samples are ideal. Determine if each method produces a true random sample. So A says, asking every 10th person coming out of a health club, how many times a week they exercise. Is that random or not random? That's not random. Why? Why is this one not random? Nope, the 10th person actually would make it more random, but the problem is they're coming out of a health club. People who come out of a health club, have they already exercised? Yes, so if you're trying to find out how many times a week Americans exercise, you don't need to just ask people coming out of a health club. You also got to call the people who are sitting on their couch, okay? All right, so this is not random. This is, you could call it a convenience sampling because you just went to a health club, which was easy to do, and you polled people, okay? You could also say that one was biased. So there's a lot of different answers for the type it is, but it's not random, okay? All right, what about B? Surveying people going into an Italian restaurant to find out people's favorite type of food. What do you think, random or not random? Not random. Once again, why not? They're at an Italian restaurant. So you're probably going to get more people who say Italian than you would if you went to a different type of restaurant. What could I call this one? Convenience would work. What else would work? Biased. Lots of right answers. Okay. All right, C, the government sending a tax survey to everyone whose social security number ends in a particular digit. That's random. So if your social security number ends in a particular digit, does that tell me anything about you? No, it doesn't tell me anything, so that is random. Okay. All right, D, surveying students in an honors chemistry class to determine the average time students study each week. Random or not random? Not random. Why is that not random? They're in honors chemistry, so chances are they're going to do what? Study more, okay? Yes, true. Yes, those are all good points. So it's not random. What could you call that one? Biased, convenient. Once again, those a lot of times can both be right. Okay, what about this next one? Putting names of all seniors in a hat, then drawing the names from the hat to select a sample of seniors. That is random. This one is an example of stratified. If you go back up and look, what was the definition of stratified? A subgroup. So in this particular case, what is your subgroup? Seniors. What would be probably the group overall? The school, and the subgroup is seniors. Good. Okay. This next one, selecting a student from 200 by picking the 5th student, then every 10th student after that. Random or not random? What? Random. No, this one is not stratified. Nope. Systematic. So systematic means you do it in a certain order. What are you doing this one in? What order? Yep, so there's an order to it. Okay? All right, and this last one, selecting a resident of the United States to take a survey by choosing a state, then a county, and then a city. What do you think? Random or not random? What do y'all think? Random. It is random. And this one is the multi-stage. What are the different stages? Good. State, county, and city are the different stages. Okay. All right. Anybody need more time to write? Okay. We have variable variables in statistics, the data collected on each subject, and is broken up into two different types. So the subjects are the people that you are collecting your data on. Okay? You have categorical variables, a variable that is assigned a characteristic. A characteristic. What's an example of a characteristic of a subject? Anybody? Well, yes. So you have, let's say y'all are my subjects. What are some characteristics y'all might have that I could do statistics on? What? So hair. Okay. So this one is just a characteristic that you could write down. So hair what? Color. Okay? Hair, color. Quantitative variables are a variable that's assigned a numerical value. So these are the ones that have numbers with them. So characteristic could be something like hair color, because hair color has no numbers with it. Okay? But something that has a numerical value, what dealing with hair could have a number with it? Length, hair length. Okay, so those are the two different types. So hair color would just be brown, black, blonde, gray. But hair length, you could say, all right, 1/2 inch, 5 inches, 20 inches, that kind of thing. Okay. All right. And this last thing, sample design, the choice and specifics of, I don't have that one memorized yet, how a researcher will collect data. The choice and specifics of how a researcher will collect data. So how are they going to design their project? Okay. All right. What does observation mean? What does it mean to observe? You look, you watch. So the researcher watches responses and tries to avoid influencing the subjects. So on CSI or Law and Order, when they have a suspect in and they're questioning them, where do most of the police officers stay? Behind the two-way mirror, because they don't want to influence the investigation. Okay? All right. What happens in a survey? What does the researcher pose in a survey? Like when they call your house and there's a survey, what do? Question. So the researcher poses questions and records the subject's answers. So a survey is just a question and answer. All right, an experiment. The researcher intentionally imposes a treatment. What are some examples of treatments and experiments? Drug testing, where they give you a certain medication to see if it'll work. What else could be an example of a treatment? What else could it be instead of just taking a pill? A shot, an injection, okay? What else could a treatment be? What's something that you could do for treatment that's not going into your body? What? Chemotherapy, you're still getting stuff inside your body. Exercise, thank you. Okay? All right. So, a control group is the placebo group. Those are the same thing. Those are the people who think they're getting the medicine, but they're really not. They're getting like a sugar pill. And then there's a treatment group that's actually getting the medicine. Okay? All right, last one, simulation. You probably have never heard of this one. This is when the researcher uses a mathematical model and probabilities to examine outcomes. So an example of that, have y'all ever seen the movie 21? It's this like group of people who go to Vegas. I think they go to Vegas. Don't they go to Vegas? They count cards and that's how they win money. So they're like, so somebody who is trying, like there are people who work for the FBI who do simulations, because if somebody goes to Vegas and they keep winning and winning and winning and winning, what are they probably doing? They're probably cheating, okay? So the FBI does have, crazy enough, the FBI has mathematicians who look at the probabilities to examine if that's something that could really happen or not happen, okay? All right, so jumping down to the bottom of your paper. All right, determine what type of sample design is being described. And I changed D because I don't like it, so I changed it up here. I didn't change it on your papers. Okay. So when it says sample design, your choices are survey, observation. These are your choices. What else is a choice? Experiment and simulation. So those are your choices for this one. Okay? All right. A teacher wants to make sure a pair of dice are fair, one side is not weighted, by rolling them 1,000 times. Which one of these do you think it is? Simulation. Because the teacher is going to be using math and probability to determine if they are fair. So that's a simulation. Okay? All right, next one. A doctor is monitoring a patient after they have administered an injection to see if the patient has a reaction. What do you think that one is? Experiment. Why is this one experiment? They're getting a shot. Okay, they're getting an injection. So they're actually getting something inside their bodies. Okay? My rule of thumb is anytime somebody is getting something inside their bodies, it turns it into an experiment. A manufacturer asks random people in a town what products they would like to see sold in the area. Survey. What's the key word in that one? Ask. Okay? They ask random people, so they're just asking questions. Okay? And like I said, I changed the last one because I didn't like the example that it had. A psychologist goes in kindergarten classrooms and watches how girls and boys interact. Shouldn't have an S on that. Observation. Okay? What? Yes, it should. What is the key word in this last one? Watches. Okay. Okay. Let's see what's next. Stretch break. Okay. The measures of central tendency, this is review from Math 1, Math 2, and Math 3. But anyways, this phrase, measures of central tendency, are the mean, median, and mode. That's what it means by that. So measures of central tendency are the mean, median, mode. They are the center or middle of a set of data. So measures of central tendency, that just refers to the mean, median, and mode. It's the title of them. Okay? And they give you the center or middle depending on which one you're talking about. So the mean, what's another word for that? Yes. Average, yes. Okay. So the mean is the average. Just going to write that underneath it. There's not really a place for it. But to get the average, what do you do, Jonah, to get the average? You get the sum, and then you divide it by what? Yeah, we'll say the number of observations. Okay? So the mean is the average, but to get the average, you have to take the sum and divide it by the number of observations. Okay? All right, a common notation for the mean in the calculator is this symbol. All right, anybody remember the title of that? Anybody? It's called X bar. Okay. Guess, well, some of y'all had me for math 1. I call it that. X bar. Okay. All right. And we're marking out that next line. Okay. The median, that's when you arrange the numbers from what? What do you have to do first to get the median? Least to greatest. And then it represents the middle. So the way I remember that is the median in the highway is right in the middle. Okay. If there's an odd number, then there will be a true middle number if there's an odd amount. But if there's an even amount, you're going to end up with 2 middle numbers, so you have to take their average. Okay? All right, and the mode. Tell me about the mode. The most what? So the mode, I guess I should make this grammatically correct. The number that occurs the most often. Okay. All right, so the mode is not the most, but it's the one that occurs the most. Okay? All right, this is brand new. I'm sure you've never seen this before. If no number occurs more than any other, that means there's no mode. That's what we used to write in Math 1. We just write there is no mode. But the technical name for it is amodal. That's how you pronounce it, amodal, if it has no mode. That's the technical term. You never know. It might be a multiple choice question, and no mode is not an answer choice. If there are 2 numbers that occur the same number of times, so if there's 2 modes, it's called bimodal. If it has 2 modes, bimodal. You might need more time. Okay, let's get these examples done. So below are Mr. Dent's Algebra 2 exam scores, and we need to find the mean, median, and mode. The way we're going to do that is by using the calculator. Does anybody remember from Math 1 what button we press? Stat! Yes, thank you. So press stat right here. Stat, and then you're going to press enter for edit. And if you have numbers in here, you need to clear them out. The way you do that is you go up to the top and you press clear, enter. You never press delete, just clear, enter. We are typing all of these in L1. Now, the beauty of the calculator is the calculator doesn't care what order they're in. Calculator doesn't care what order they're in. But all of this, guys, all of these need to go in L1. The top and the bottom need to go in L1. It doesn't matter what order you do them in. So 72, enter, and type them in however you want. But we're putting them all in. Okay, after you get them all in, you press stat again. This time you go over to calc, and we are doing statistics. That's the unit we're in, so that's why we're choosing this first one, because we're in statistics. So you press enter, 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 until you get a whole bunch of stuff on your screen. Okay, now we've already talked about this. The mean, if you look up at the top of your paper, is X with the line over it. So in your calculator, what's X with the line over it? 73.9. So that goes in for the mean. That means you typed something in wrong. Should be exact. Okay? So 73.9. To get the median, you actually have to scroll down, and there's more numbers available. So you scroll down. The median is MED, which is 76.5. Now, the calculator will not give you the mode, but that's the easiest one to figure out. The mode is the one that occurs the most often. So, which one of these occurs the most? 94, because it occurs. Okay. That's a 9. That's what happened. Yep. No, it's a coincidence. Okay. All right. Mr. Dent's students asked how they did on their exam. Which measure of central tendency would best answer their question? So what does this mean by what measure of central tendency? It's either the mean, median, or mode is what it means by that. The mean, median, or mode. So what would the teacher use, the mean, median, or mode, to tell them about their scores? The mean. What is the mean? The average. Why do teachers give the average and not one of the other ones? Okay, the average takes into account the whole class. What does the median only give you? That one middle score. What does the mode give you? The mode just tells you if a couple or 2 or 3 students made the same score. It doesn't really tell you anything. The mean takes into account the whole class. Okay? All right. For this next one, we also need to find the mean, median, mode, and this is a stem and leaf plot. This means this is the number 44, 45, 46, 47, 47. So in our calculators, let's go ahead and clear out what we got. So what button do I need to press to get back? Stat. Enter. And I'm going to go up and clear, enter. And you're typing in 44, 45, putting them all in. 46, 47, 47. What would the next row be? 53, 55. There you go. Keep going, keep going. And then the last row would be 67, 67, 68, 69, 69. Good. Okay, after I get them all in, what do I do? Hit stat again. Calc. Choose the first one, right? Okay. All right. How about Paige? What would be the mean? Good. 57.4. Tanner, what you got for the median? 57. And let me give Charlie the mode. Good. Okay, why is having the data set up like this helpful? What is the advantage to one of those, the stem and leaf plots? It's in order. It's already in order. Anybody else have something else they want to add to that? What else is it really easy to do? I mean, it's in order, which makes it really easy to do what? Find the mode. Good. Okay. All right. The next one, Jonah, read this one for us. See. Good. Okay, so yes, you do have to type this one in. It doesn't matter if the calculator changes it to the E thing. It'll still, should still do it right. Yep. All right, check your numbers with mine up here. Are they the same? Yeah? Okay. So, Jose, what would be my mean? Yeah. Austin. Trayvon, what do you got for the median? 2 million. There you go. And Chase, the mode is not in the calculator. 2 million, because right here it occurs 3 times. Okay. All right, this is a thinking question. You are a realtor, okay? You're the realtor. You're trying to lease mall space in different areas of the country to a large retailer. Which measure would you talk about if the customer, so the person you're trying to sell to, felt that the malls were too large? If he was using that as his excuse not to buy, what could you use to help persuade him? The mode. Why? It's the smallest. So you'd kind of be tricking him because the mode I don't think is really relevant. But the mode is the smallest value. So you could say that you have several stores that are only 2 million square feet, okay? And that would be a true statement. You would not be lying to them, okay? All right, and the last one. Stat, cal, or edit, clear. Oops, I gotta go up here, clear, enter. Okay, for this one, what would you type in the calculator for January? 20,000. What do you type in the calculator for February? 20,000. Let me call on somebody. Caitlin, what do you type in the calculator for March? Keith, for April. 21,000. Connor, for May. Keelan, June. Yep, Mariah, July. What? Yes. And Samantha, August. Yep. And Jacob, September. And then we've got October, 24,000. And November, 25,000. And December, 26,000. Okay, stat calc number 1. All right, Hope, what should I write down for the mean? Okay, let me have Olivia, the median. Kirsten, the median. What? I had 23,500, but I may have typed it in wrong last night. With the 500? Okay. Okay. And Jonah, the mode. What? There you go. 25,000 is right here. How many times does it occur? 3. Okay, what are 2 types of situations in real life that this graph might be used for? Growth of your what? All right, if you're examining the growth of a company, so if I was trying to decide if I wanted to buy somebody's towing business, if their monthly sales are going up, would that be a good company to buy? Yeah, because it shows growth. What else could you use that for? That's not what I'm looking for. What do you mean? Yeah, but so another thing, what you could use it for? Stock, okay, and bonuses for your employees. Yeah, your stock would go up if your sales are going up. That is true. Okay. All right.